What you heard from him was just a realization that if LeBron James was in this conference, we wouldn't be sitting here as comfortably as we're sitting here right now, believing or sniffing an NBA Finals berth. We would be a hell of a lot more worried about getting past him. It was very obvious.
Giannis, it's not that he's not telling the truth. He's just a humble dude. It's one of the reasons he's replaced Westbrook, Stephen A, as my favorite player in the NBA. You know, we all know the story. We've told it on the show many times. Of Molly, he lives in a 2-bedroom apartment with his family. I told you the story about how he sent his first game check back home, so didn't have any money even to get to the arena. Had to start jogging to the arena when a fan spotted him, drove him there. How he doesn't want to play outside of Milwaukee, is not looking to, like, leave somewhere, wants to get guys there. Believes in his crew, how his teammates love him, right? Won't work out with the opposition in the offseason. That's the enemy. I'm not buddy-buddy with these dudes. Love me some Giannis, and in addition to all that, he's just a humble, thoughtful, honest guy. However, if what you take from that is that Giannis is saying, woo, thank God LeBron's not in the East because then we wouldn't be sitting here so comfortably, I'm going to tell you then Giannis is wrong. They'd be playing the exact same team they would have been playing because LeBron and the Cavs, meaning him, even if Kyrie was still there with Kevin Love, would have been beaten by this Raptors team, which is deeper. And right now, in Kawhi has a better two-way player. And they would have been beaten by the Bucks team, I think, handily. Because it's not clear that LeBron James is better than Kawhi Leonard or Giannis Antetokounmpo anymore. And these teams play together cohesively as a unit. They defend. They shoot the lights out, the Bucks do, from 3. I'm telling you right now, if Giannis believes he would be in any different position than he is right now if LeBron is in the East, I believe he is mistaken. This was going to be the Eastern Conference Finals. The team, my preseason pick, the Raptors, and then my in-season pick, the Bucks, are playing for the Eastern Conference Finals right now, and it wouldn't matter if LeBron's in the East. Well, by the way, I know it's not fair, Stephen A., because the Lakers didn't really have anyone, and he got hurt. Who's to say he wouldn't be hurt had he stayed with the Cavs?
Yeah.
But he didn't even make the playoffs in the West. Didn't even make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, LeBron James averaged 27 like he always does, number one. Number two, I think you're forgetting something that's very, very important. So I'm going to bring it up to you right now. You can't say for once definitively at all. I mean, all of it is hypothetical because obviously he's no longer in the Eastern Conference. But there's no evidence that we've seen from the Milwaukee Bucks that says they would have beaten the Cleveland Cavaliers for this reason, Max, more than anything. We worried about Cleveland offensively after Kyrie left and LeBron James carried them to the NBA Finals. We forget how stellar they were defensively. The one thing that J.R. Smith, George Hill, Tristan Thompson, Kevin Love, and all of those guys did collectively was play defense come playoff time. Offensively, they leaned heavily on LeBron James, who utilized his basketball brilliance to create mismatches for himself and everybody around him. But defensively, they were locked in. And when you look at how Milwaukee has struggled from time to time throughout these playoffs in terms of putting points on the board, yes, they play elite defense too. So it comes down to what would you have been able to do with LeBron? That's a question, and we can debate that. But let's not assume that, they would have taken Cleveland out because Cleveland's defense was no joke. No joke.
Okay, but Milwaukee's defense, Brogdon's a willing defender, if not a good one. Middleton's a good defender. Mirotic is underrated. He's athletic. He's just not very strong, but quick feet.
Toronto
knows what he's
was
doing.
Considered to have a good defense last year.
The Freak is excellent defensively. Lopez is not a great defender, but he's an excellent rim defender. Bledsoe's an excellent defender off the bench. Hill off the bench. They got guys who can defend on this team. But real quick, Stephen A., real quick before we get to Milwaukee, you talked about how now they got Kawhi. It's not going to be the scared puppy team, right? My point is, I don't think Milwaukee would have had to play Cleveland. Toronto could have played traffic cop for Milwaukee anyway. I still think this is the Eastern Conference Finals.
Well, it's entirely possible, Max, that Milwaukee could have ended up meeting Cleveland before Toronto did. So we don't know that. You know, it's all about seedings. But what I'm saying to you is this. When you picked Toronto to beat Cleveland last year, why did you pick Toronto? It wasn't because of their offense. You were raving about their defense, too, and how they had a collection of bodies that could really cause problems for Cleveland. And then LeBron just took over and snatched their heart right out of their chest.
No doubt. No doubt. My whole question last year is, could DeRozan be the best player on at least a conference finals team? The answer was no. But I know Kawhi could. So if you take DeRozan off of last year's team and drop Kawhi, a healthy Kawhi on it, I'd take Toronto all over again, and I believe they would win. We see the difference between a real MVP caliber player who could lead a team to a championship and just an all-star caliber player. They got that dude now in Toronto, and they have him in Milwaukee.
And you and I feel different because I believe Cleveland would have still beaten them, except the only difference is they would not have swept Kawhi.
Yeah.
Right,
like
remember,
they swept
no Kyrie,
DeRozan and Lowry.
No Kyrie on that Cleveland team.
I know, I remember.
Cleveland still would have been better than Boston and Philadelphia, but Toronto and Milwaukee ain't Boston and Philadelphia.
Let me get in here, guys. All right, obviously, when LeBron was in the East, he dominated, right? No one could get past him. Do you feel like Giannis is going to rule the East in the same way now?
I would say yes, and I believe it starts this year. But I got to see him get by Kawhi. Kawhi, at least temporarily, is in the East. He probably won't be in the East next year, is my best guess. It'll be with the Clippers. But right now, he's got to get by Kawhi. I know they're up in the series. That is no easy task. After this year, and I even believe now, starting I got to see, the answer is yes. I believe the Greek Freak will run the East. And by the way, if he was crewed up in the West, I think he'd run the West too. My suspicion is he's the best player in the NBA.
I'm not ruling out. I'm not going to say that, and because I'm not ruling out the resurrection of the Philadelphia 76ers or the ascension of the Philadelphia 76ers. After suffering the devastating loss in Game 7 that they did to Toronto, I want to see if there could ever be a healthy Joel Embiid. And I want to see if somebody is going to get all up in Ben Simmons' face and get him to attempt some perimeter shots. Those are two tall tasks. I do understand that. But if those two things were to happen in an elevated or improved fashion, I believe Philadelphia could take Milwaukee.